Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over my 7th match from the 2023 Midwest Classic. If you did not see my last video, I did end up winning that game as well. And so for the team event, my amount of wins was 6 wins. So I've won every game so far, which is pretty surprising, honestly. Now, obviously a lot of these games are handicap games, so I am playing players weaker than me. But even with that fact, I'm still pretty surprised by how much I've won. Going into the 7th match, that means we are 2/3 into the tournament. So we just have 3 games left. So again, just even though I feel like I've put my... I was able to contribute a good amount of wins to my team, I still wanted to finish strong. So with that being said, my 7th match opponent was 2Q, so I had to give 4 stones. And similarly to my last video, my opponent plays a very good opening. And again, this is why opening is important, but as long as you stay on Josekis and you stay, or you try to keep having good shape, you're not going to do badly. And so I remember playing this game. My opponent played even faster than I did in the opening, and that's fine because they stuck with Josekis they knew, and they played in a way that benefited them. So you don't need to complicate things in the opening. You don't need to think very long in the opening, or you shouldn't. You should just kind of play moves that feel natural and that keep your stones light, keep your stones connected, keep your stones strong. And so that's what I really like about Black in this opening. So again, like, Black could play on the left side, but Black simply just backs off. And even this kind of 2-space approach, you don't see that often. The reason why I play it is because I've watched a lot of AI games on Fox, specifically handicap games. And I noticed that the AIs like to play this 2-space approach. So I've just been having fun with it. But again, like, if you haven't seen this before, you might, I don't want to say freak out, but you might be caught off guard a little bit. But Black, even if Black hadn't seen this before or has seen it very rarely, Black just backs off. You can never say this kind of move is a bad move. So then I play 3/3, and again, Black just sticks to a very simple variation and even extends along the top. Again, keeping their group safe. So then I approach lower right, and then whenever I have a 4-stone or higher handicap game that I'm playing as white, I always try to get 1 3/3 invasion. So that's, now that I've played in all other corners, that's when I play 3/3. And again, that's just a personal preference. And the thing with it, though, is, like, you could say that, oh, maybe R14 is slightly better, or what if you approach up top or going elsewhere? But you can never really say that playing this kind of 3/3 is bad. So as long as you're playing things that you're comfortable with, you should do that in the opening. Games are not, unless something horrible happens, games are not decided in the opening usually. They're decided in middle game and then sometimes end game. So you should use, if you're in a tournament, you should use your time mainly in the middle game and end game. Opening is when you should try to play a little quicker. And so Black chooses double Hane variation. And so again, so far, how can you say Black has made a mistake, right? Black has stuck to Josekis. And yeah. And so we're 26 moves in, and Black has no complications. So then this attachment. So this attachment is pretty crucial for the whole game, actually. So let's talk about why white would want to attach here. So the point of attaching is I would like to get some move to help my upper right group, right? While this pony key is very strong, it could still be attacked, especially with this J17 stone so close. So if I go elsewhere, let's say K4, Black's obviously going to take this spot, right? It's the key spot. It threatens to take out the eye here, but also surround white. And so if I push, Black can actually cover here. because it looks like, oh, white has a ladder breaker here, but and I reviewed this to double check. This ladder will actually just miss this ladder breaking stone here. It'll just miss it. Black stones, white will be at C7 or C9, I mean, and black will be able to push through and drive white towards the side. But let's even imagine white had the ladder breaker. Black could still Atari along the side and even connect. And now white has these 3 stones to deal with and the upper right stones to deal with. So how can white help both? It's kind of impossible. Without severe damage, that is. Like, you could stand up, but black's even just gonna cover like this. You're gonna be forced to live small, and look at this thickness black has gotten, and you still have these 4 stones that are weak. But if you just forget about them, then black's gonna attack them severely, and you're still not alive up top. So it's just a tricky scenario. So if I can't cut, what if I can go here? Well, again, black's just gonna connect, and again, your group is so cramped, so uncomfortable. And again, that's what you want to avoid in the opening. So what? Is white going to give it up then? Is it not worth playing? Is it not worth saving, I mean? Well, if you give it up, like, the thing is, if black covers, you'll be able to live like this. But the thing is, what if black covers like this? Well, you're still going to have a weak group. And even if this sort of thing happens, you still have a weak group, and black's building the upper right. And sure, you could go elsewhere again, right? Black is spending a lot of moves to surround, but black's surrounding is actually quite big because black takes the entire upper side. Now, of course, I'm playing slack moves for white, so maybe white can get some moves first before playing, but it feels like this is a very annoying move for white. It just hurts white's group a lot. So a very natural move would be to either play L17 or O16 to help the group, but those moves are gote. It would allow black to go elsewhere. And in a game that nowadays is dominated by who can keep Sente is so important. So that's why in the game I attach, because this move is more Sente than L17. Because black ignores L17, what's white's local follow-up up top? There's not really one. But if black ignores this, white can Hane underneath, and now white is actually taking out black's base, and it's quite, now black's being the one who's cramped, right? If black has to do this, peep, you can see now black is all of a sudden very cramped, and actually white's getting a handful of points up top now. So this move is more Sente. So that's why I have to balance Sente and kind of what my opponent's getting, because what black gets is to stand up. And not that this is a problem, but later I might have wanted to maybe shoulder hit and attach here, right? Play something like this to flatten black if I want to build the center or something. And this comes up, and this is very important later on. So keep this idea in mind of not being able to do that. So I dive under, black answers, and then play at H3, threatening to play B3, so black blocks, and then jump. Again, this jump is very nice because it is protecting my group. If black, while L4 looks like a very nice spot to get, black getting C9 really damages this group here, because all of a sudden, if I have to jump like this, then my left side is destroyed. And I'm not making any points with these stones here. So that's why I jump, but that allows black to pincer the bottom stone. And here I think this was maybe me being too autopilot-y. And again, in the opening, you can kind of afford to be a little autopilot-y if you stick to Joseki lines. But when I play this variation, which I do like, because I get the corner, we can see black does take the entire bottom for the most part, and even gets to pincer my stone at H3. So I think here is when I should either play this variation, where if black blocks, I'll get this move, And the idea with this is I'm trying to isolate the M3 stone. Or even just jump, or maybe even K3. I should engage black in a fight here, basically. I should use this stone at H3 to try to attack the M3 stone, especially in a handicap game. But like this, sure, I get the corner, but black's able to easily settle the bottom side. So I attach underneath. The idea with this is I'm trying to get moves on the outside. And so black actually lets me, and so I'm very happy. Here, I think black should just pull back like this. Because if white bumps, then black's going to... Oh, black has a lot of choices, but even just attack these two stones like this. When black cuts, black gives me this forcing move, which you can see starts to connect up my groups very nicely. And I even add a stone here. And again, this move is okay, but I think it's a little slow. I don't think it's terrible, but it does feel a little slow. Because I have to ask myself, what is really the value of these three stones? Like, I think the left side is bigger. Because after I play here, black takes the left side, or the right side, I mean. I think the right side's bigger. So it's a tough call. Like, if black really wants these stones, black has to really try to get them. Like, if black goes here, then I'll jump now. And again, if black wants these stones, okay. I wasn't going to make a lot of points with these stones anyways. They were just going to be dame. So, yeah. But I jump. Black plays Q10. And then I jump again. And so, obviously, white's trying to make a huge left side. So what does black do? Black comes in. And so this is where things actually fall apart a little bit for me. Because what's a very natural move, right? I'm going to cap. But the problem with capping is, where is this pushing black? This is pushing black towards where black is strong. But the thing is, black wasn't always strong there. I made black stronger, right? So my next move is I shoulder hit. But after that, that's really the only forcing move I get to try to separate these two groups. So imagine, I'm going to back up a little bit. Imagine, let's say I do not make this exchange, right? Let's say we just continue normally. Now, of course, black's going to not play exactly the same, and I probably wouldn't either. But just for simplicity's sake, let's say we do this. We do everything the same. Like this. Black plays there, jump, black comes in, and then shoulder hit, right? Let's say black now plays the diagonal. Right, this is the same position as the game, except I haven't exchanged K17 for J16. Well, now when I shoulder hit, I could do some sort of follow-up like J16. And if black answers, well, now black is getting surrounded. But if black doesn't answer, my follow-up is much more severe. But if we imagine I have had K17 on the board like in the game, it would be as if right now, right, this is a very natural move to play next. But it would be like I would play K17 and allow black to stand up, right? This exchange, based on this board, does not make any sense. So that is the problem with white's play. It is not consistent with what white has played so far. So, because I have already played the shoulder hit, or not the shoulder hit, the attachment, I have to play a little bit differently. Because in the game, when I cap like this, where's the only direction black can go? Obviously, the only direction black can go is towards black's strength up top. I made black stronger up top. But I don't want black to go towards where black is strong. So instead, I should play some move like this or like this. Some move like this would be better. Because I'm more trying to push black in this direction where black is much further away, or black's allies are much further away. Black is just less strong on the bottom. Or what that means is this move is asking for too much because I'm playing very close to where black is strong. Maybe I need to play a move that's a little closer like this. So this is not consistent with what I am playing so far. So when black does this, like I'm trying to read, I'm like, I can't really attack both, or I can't really attack the left side. So I try to play Tiger's Mouth, but black just covers. So I think at least I should try to get some move first. It's hard to say what. Because if I just cover, black jumping is threatening here. Black, it's so tricky. It's so tricky. And the other thing is, even if I can seal black in, right? Let's say I can do something like this, right? Black's going to connect. Even I'll give myself this peep. How am I going to use this wall effectively? Right? Like, this wall is facing a wide open right side, to be fair, but nothing to attack with, and a very strong bottom group. So if I get this wall, it's just not going to be doing much for me. So yeah, it's just a tricky position for white. Play there. So black answers here, and then I cover. This is trying to put pressure on black. If I can cut at D18, black now technically does not have an alive group. So that's the idea there. So black hanes. So I cover. Black counter hanes. And then I play here, which is threatening to cut, but also hane back. So black hanes. And then I cut. Black Ataris once. And I think this is... It's a tough call, but I think black should Atari here first. I think this is a better order of moves, but it might not matter too much, because basically, if black Atari's here first, like in the game, when black Atari's here, I'm definitely not going to answer. But if black Atari's here first, now I will probably answer, because black's follow-up is going to be an Atari, right? But if I answer here, then black can still Atari on the outside. So this is an order of moves thing. I think black should play J19 first. Because again, black is pretty secure here. So as long as black can live up top, I think black is doing fine. And it's even if white has threats like this, black can just connect. Black can just connect. So yeah. I think this is a minor mistake by black, but again, it's nothing detrimental. Black Ataris, and then cover. And then black goes there, yep. And here, I think I should just make this exchange. While this does force black to connect in the corner, which means I lose some points, I do save these 2 stones, which do seem pretty valuable in terms of attacking this left side group. Although, how I play in the game, or at least how black plays in the game, is black ends up giving me a bunch of thickness, like this. Black even covers, and then I pull the stone out. And so now, once again, I'm going back to attacking the left side. So I play there. And again, it's annoying, but I kind of do have to fix this cut. And then black jumps, and then attach. So again, this is kind of like white's last desperate effort in this game, but it shouldn't work very well, just because of how wide open this space is. All of black stones, or all the stones on the bottom are black, right? So like, how can white separate this black group from this like 8 lines of black stones on the bottom? It's just impossible. So if black just plays moves that are very simple, say like this, and then something like this, how can white really profit from attacking this group? It's just too tricky, I feel. Like if you play here, black can just diagonal and black is connecting. You play here, black can jump there. It's just, white has too many problems. Or black is, it's not even white has problems, it's just black is too strong in the center. So yeah, this is desperate, but it is kind of necessary, because if you look at the board, black has ripped out white's left side. Where's the rest of white's points? Like, white has some points on the upper side, that's true, and in the lower right, but left side is not worth much anymore. So white really needs something big here. Black hanes, and again, in a lot of circumstances, I would hane to get into the right side, but after this feels too nice for black. Even black can turn this around and make a bunch of points on the bottom side. Black was being attacked, but all of a sudden could maybe make points. So even though this is very greedy, because I'm still going after the center, it does feel kind of necessary. So of course, black Ataris and connects, and even cut. And again, this cut is just way too much. Way too much. If black just extends, there's just not that much Aji for white. Yes, there's Aji with this kind of sequence, but even if black just answers, it just seems too tricky for black, or for white. So, yeah, just very difficult. But black Ataris, and then I peep, and then I even descend. And this is very greedy, because all I'm trying to do is create forcing moves on the outside. But if black just connects, again, like, I don't get that many forcing moves. And I'm losing a lot of Aji on the right side. But black descends, and now white has a chance. Because now I have potential to cut here at P12. So I cover here. Because I don't know if I want to jump or cut directly or maybe Atari directly. So I'm basing how I play on how black is going to play. So black Hanes. But this peep is already starting to let me cut. So black makes a tiger's mouth. But this allows me to connect. And black jumps down. But I keep taking away the base. Black covers or attaches. Black covers, Atari. So again, black is very surrounded all of a sudden. And it's because of how black played on the right side. So now I cut. And again, the idea is if black really wants to save, I'm going to give up 3 stones. And yeah, even just connect. Now black is surrounded in the center. So what black ends up doing is poke. And then it even plays here. And this, again, just feels really strange to me because it's allowing me to cut black. So why would black play in a way that allows me to cut? Yeah, because in the game, black just lets me surround. But black can Atari here, I feel. And if I stand up, black is just starting to connect, right? Like with this Atari here, black's already connected. And if I try to give stones up, it just feels too dangerous. Right? Like if I connect, going here is wishful thinking because black can counter Atari. And even if this Atari, there's just too many problems in white's shape. If I connect, same thing if black just goes this way. These 3 stones are getting cut off and these stones are getting surrounded. If I just take, black can simply stand up. And similarly, this is the only move to try to separate, but it just won't work because black has a very nice Tetsuji of Goblin's Nose. And the idea is if you capture, I'm going to stay connected. But if you try to separate, you just don't have enough liberties. And Haning here actually doesn't help. Because if it did help, that would be nice because you can extend at S17, but black can simply just go here, and this cut is still not working for white, and again, trying to get more liberties isn't working. So, yeah. So, by just Ataring here, black is, sure, white's going to connect this, but black connects their group. But in the game, black plays here, which, keep in mind, this is forcing white to cut black's knight's move. Right there. Then play there, yep. So I just take. Point of taking is, while I might want to do this because it puts more pressure on the center group, this being an Atari is pretty annoying for white. It would allow black to connect back easily. Taking it off the board means this is now not an Atari, which I think means a lot. But then black plays here, which this was black's final chance, is black needs to answer in the corner. If black answers in the corner, white needs to try to kill this, but it is still quite tricky. Black's starting to get an eye here. There's a potential ko. It's just pretty tricky. But this is where black's playing too quickly actually went into middle game. Like black was playing quickly in the opening, but that didn't stop when black was playing in the middle game. So when black did this, black wasn't even thinking about, am I already alive or not? So when black connects, white descends, and after the turn here, yeah, the entire upper right is white's. And black jumps down, I bump, so yeah, now for sure, the entire upper right is white's, which is quite a lot. It's quite a lot. So black plays a little bit more. Black bumps. Black is actually still afraid of dying here, because black even connects here, but even allows me to connect up the entire left side, which is just way too much. Way too much. Black descends. I block, or I hane to make sure I'm alive. And then I Atari. This is to prevent a big endgame of black connecting. Black jumps, and then I jump, and then black resigns here, just because of how much black lost in the upper right. But yeah, it was black playing very solidly in the opening, like very solidly, even better than white was in some aspects. But just things kind of fell apart in the middle game, which if you did see my last video, that's kind of the exact same thing that happened in my last game, my last match, where black was doing just totally fine in the opening, but then once middle game happened, just everything kind of fell apart. But yeah, that's kind of what white is, I don't want to say hoping for, but that is kind of the dawn magic that white kind of needs to catch up in a lot of handicap games. But not always. Not always. That just happened to be the story in these two games. But yeah, that's my 7th match. That means after this, I was now 7-0, which is pretty crazy to think about, honestly. I was feeling, pretty happy, but again, the quality of the game was not quite there. So even though I did win, I was like, yeah, not so great. Black kind of gave me a freebie, especially like after the game. My opponent, because I do know my opponent in real life. They were kind of telling me, yeah, I hadn't played Go in a while, a little rusty. I played too quickly, and like I could totally see that because I've played them before and they've played much better than this. But yeah, that was my 7th match. If you have any questions about the game, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video.